Back.
Yeah, mic check, mic check, mic check. Man, what's good? We are officially back. We are officially live. Welcome to Kicking the Real podcast. I am your host, Andy Diosa. If you're a first time listener, thank you for being here. If you're a multiple time listener, thank you for being here. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way before I start. To any former guests on the podcast, any future guests on the podcast, this is going to be a tough episode to beat. It's probably going to be my favorite episode of all time because I have a family member here, and I'm talking about a real, actual cousin, not the fake cousins y'all be talking about. Oh, that's my cousin. Now, this is my real cousin here. And we have so many great things to talk about. My cousin's coming to us from Tampa, Florida. She goes by the name of Tiff Eatz. She needs no introduction, but we going to give it to her anyway. Prima, thank you for coming through the kick with me. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling good, feeling great. Thank you for having me, Primo.
Yes. I'm so excited for this episode. It's one of those that I knew I wanted to do, obviously, and it's the timing is perfect. I always say that, but the timing really is perfect. And what we're gonna talk about and all the different things that you have going on and that you do in the culinary world. Tiff Eats, if you see it there, if you're watching on YouTube, is the name she goes by. So I'm gonna start this the way I do with all of them, with the origin story, and I want you to let the people know kind of what was it that got you inspired to get into this chef life, to get into this cooking life.
Well, really, it was abuelita. I was fortunate enough to grow up around her my entire life. So, you know how she would always be in the kitchen whipping up the arepas and always feeding us, lunch and dinners. Food has always been a part of my life. And, I would always try to go in there and sneak little peeks and stuff. And she would always be like, "Ay, salga de aquí." But then, it got to a point where she allowed me to I was just like, I just want to watch how you make everything. And then taking her in and then my mom, and then it just sparked something within me for the love of food. And then later on down the road, as I became more of an adult, then it just became like a passion to want to cook the food that I enjoy eating and see if I could put my own little twist and such to it. So it was really, a family inspiration within.
I love that because our family is so spread out. We have cousins all over, but we all have our experiences with Abuelita and her cooking for us. And I think it's translated to all of our moms and our aunts and stuff like that, where there's certain things that the family makes that is obviously started from our grandma and the type of food she used to make for all of us back in the day at some point, which is amazing because it's a lot of us.
Yeah,
But
exactly. She always fed us. She always kept everyone fed. And I always like that was always inspiring to me. So I'm like, yo, if like, we were always happy when we ate her food. So in turn, I'm like, I would love to give that feeling to, my friends and family, as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I love that. It's what's funny to me too, as we go along, like you've been doing this for a little bit of time now, and I always laugh because it'll be like one of our aunts like, "Oh, Tiff does this," or like, "Oh, she made this," or sometimes I'll send my mom like I made some like, "Oh, Andy made this," and I'm like, at some point we had to start cooking, right? Like we're not around y'all all the time now, so we need to fend for ourselves. So it's just funny to see how that kind of translates throughout the family. And I'm lucky enough that I get the family discount that I have tried much of
Oh
Tips food.
yes.
That's how this works. But
Oh,
in terms of the actual like cooking itself, what maybe are some of your favorite dishes to make, and just in general? Because I know you have a wide range of different things you do, and we'll get into all of that. But maybe give me like maybe your top three in terms of what you enjoy cooking the most, or maybe enjoy eating the most rather.
oh man, that could. It's hard to narrow it down to three because my palate is so broad. Like I don't only just limit myself to obviously Hispanic, Colombian food, and I'm also half Cuban, so that takes a big role as well. But my top three dishes that I could cook over and over and over again are my pastas. I love making the spaghetti and meatballs from scratch. Um, there's like two pasta dishes that I just adore making. And the second one is with the boars and cheese. It's usually made with like a spread that you would put on a charcuterie board to have like with jams on your crackers and such. But I've incorporated it into a pasta dish. It's really quick, it's very easy, and it is so full of flavor, delicious, creamy. And then I love making my black beans, garlic rice, and with sauteed onions on top. Those are my top three go-to dishes, and those are the ones that are usually requested. When I have friends or family come over, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna need you to make that."
I love it. I love
it's
it.
I love it.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, it's such a wide range, and I think that's the beautiful thing of people that actually getting to cooking and to be chefs is like you could go a lot of places with it. Also, the creativity, like you have your base of what you kind of want to do, but then you could mix it up, and like you said, maybe it's something you're used to seeing in a charcuterie board, and then you're like now making it into a different iteration of that. So I do love that, and of course, the Spanish flavor, like Colombian and Cuban, is a hell of a mix right there. It gives a lot opportunity to make some really good food. We've been able to have a lot of sancocho over the years.
Oh yes.
And I actually I had the spaghetti meatballs when I was there, like not the last trip, but I think the trip before that. So
Yep.
uh, it's awesome. It's awesome. In terms of how you come up with your ideas, because if you are not following Tiff on Instagram, please do. The name is Tiff_Eatz, and it's great because that's my favorite section of Instagram is food. Like
Oh,
forget all the rest of the stuff. I just want my algorithm to be food because a lot of times I get inspired and I'll make stuff that I see. Oh, you made this. Like I made the shrimps the other day after I saw you post it. And
ooh.
a lot of times I'll be like, I'm just hungry. I love food and it's good to watch. I know I'm not going to make 75% of the things I see, but in terms of how you kind of think about the ideas of what you want to make at a certain time, is it just a free flowing thing, or do you have a certain setup? Like I'm going to make this. I'm gonna make some content around it as well.
It's kind of a little bit of both. Like same as you, I can get lost in the scrolling world of food. And then I'll see something and I'll get inspired by that. And I'll be like, okay, I see how they made it and what seasonings they used. Let me take it to the next level. Like if it's a chicken dish, I'm like, oh, I want to incorporate this style, this ingredient. But really, growing up, you had to kind of like figure out what you have and make the best of it. And that I take a lot of that into now because I'll look at my pantry and I'm like, I don't want to go out and make food. Or buy food. I want to make it. And I'll just come up with something on the whim. I'll be like, oh, let me see how this and this goes. Like, and it could be a hit or miss. It's trial and error. Sometimes it's not great. But when it comes together, it's like, oh, it's like a proud moment. It's like, okay, yeah, I did that. So I'll take a lot from like other chefs online, or I love cooking shows. Like I love cooking shows, and I'll see some really elevated dishes, and I'm like, all right, my palate's not too rich. I'm very, simplicity goes a long way, and I'll kind of like bring it down to like a comfort home level. So it's just, it's really a broad range of everything, just taken from others and then just creating it to make it a Tiff Eatz meal.
Love that, and that word is very important, like the comfort. I know a lot of times you'll make certain things like a rendition of like maybe a Colombian hot dog or a burger and stuff like that. And like that's considered comfort food for us a lot of times. So it's like to be able
Exactly.
to make it, but also put your own spin on it is what's pretty cool. And once again, like I mentioned, this is you have the broad range of being able to kind of do whatever you want. I'm realizing now that this is a bad episode to have when I haven't eaten anything yet today, but we'll get to that because now I'm like that. Now I'm extra hungry. But either way, tell me about some of the cool things you've done specifically. I know we were talking about a spot in St. Pete down there in Florida that you were able to go visit. So I wanted to kind of highlight what you did there and that experience with you.
Oh man, that experience was the best. It was one of my favorite ones by far. It's a Cuban restaurant. It's called People's. It's family owned, and they are out in the heart of St. Pete. And they reached out to me on my Tiff Eatz page on my Instagram, and they were like, hey, I love your page, I love your content, I love what you're doing. We would like to invite you into our restaurant. Present to you some of our signature dishes. And if you like us, if it resonates, go ahead, like, share, take video, all of the above. I was like, that was like my first real big opportunity. So I was like, I'm down, let's go. So I went over there and it was amazing. Like to go behind the scenes of an authentic restaurant and really see the love and soul that they put into their food and their cooking. I got to one of their signature dishes is obviously their Cuban sandwich. And they took me to the back and they showed me their big old like smoker, And they're like, I want to take you through the steps of how we make our famous Cuban sandwich. So they have like these big pernils, and I also have the whole video on my Tiff Eatz page as well. I'm actually going to pin it at the top because I would love for people to go to more locally owned businesses, support local, support family businesses. And their food was out of this world. Like, it took me back home into like abuelita's kitchen. And I got to see the process of how like they shred it, literally fall off the bone. They just use a spoon, shred that thing apart, and it was melt in your mouth, delicious. And they got to show me some of their plates. I got wined and dined 100%. I greatly appreciated that. I was like, oh, okay, okay, let's go. They have an in-house sangria, absolutely delicious. I can't not, I can't say anything bad about that place. The vibe, how they treat their workers. It's all family. You can feel it and you can taste it, which is, the biggest part.
I love that. I love that so much, especially the part about local, right? Supporting local, and it's once again like sometimes you have to go try places and see what it's about. Not every place is going to be an A plus and check every box, but I think it's important to do that and kind of see what they have to offer. And when you could feel the authenticity and go and experience something like that, definitely boost the experience. But if the food is good, the food is good. Like that's what it comes
Oh,
down to,
yes.
right?
That's what it comes down to. And the hospitality of it too, because it plays hand in hand as well. It's like if you don't have a good experience and you see like these coworkers and they're miserable, it's gonna resonate with how you're gonna take it in with your palate. It really is.
Yeah.
And everyone there is awesome. Shout out peoples.
That's St. Pete, Florida. If you're listening in the
Yes.
Florida area, go check that out. What maybe some other spots that you've been able to kind of see locally, or I know a lot of times like even when you travel, it's if you think about being in somewhere else and you have an experience or have kind of a different meal that you may not have had in your mind, but you're like, I'm in a different place, I'm trying this. Maybe some other spots that have kind of caught your attention.
Yes. Okay. So we went to Acropolis, and it's a Greek chain, but it was a spot over here in Kennedy and downtown Tampa area. And when you promote a business or their food and really highlight their culture, they give right back. So there was a time, I think it was Ramadan period, and that restaurant, were they had like this dessert, and they don't put it on their menu all the time. It's just like for a special edition. So the owner came over to our table and he was like, I appreciate your support. I see what you're doing. I see you tagged us, on your Tiff Eatz. We want to give back to you. We would love for you to try this, really famous dish within our culture. And I'm gonna butcher their name. I think it's a kanafa or something like that.
Sounds about right.
The best. I can't even explain it. I highlighted that on my Tiffy's page so many times because it was so good and it's so unique. And oh my gosh, it's a must try, a must try, a must try, a must try. It was so good. It was cheesy. It had pistachios on top. It had kind of like oh man, like a little simple syrup on the bottom. It was absolutely delicious, and I appreciated that because it was kind of like a gift. So I love those little gifts. It was the best, and then trying something new out of your comfort range. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Especially once again, if it's not something that you're necessarily used to or something that you would have thought about, oh, I'm gonna go here and have this. Like it's a very pleasant surprise. And now I'm also realizing the next time I go to Tampa, we have to do half Tiff cooking and then half exploring the city and going
Yes,
because there's a lot of
yes,
there.
because I love to eat.
Yeah,
That was the whole purpose of my page, was to showcase a lot of dope places that, oh my god, have incredible meals. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna make them at home.
yeah. And I was actually gonna ask you about that next, which is funny. Like the inspiration behind it, I remember it being more so like you wanted to maybe do some reviews and things of that nature. And then now you're still doing that and going to the local spots, but doing it your own way. What is kind of the inspiration behind starting it that way and kind of transitioning it that way as well?
It was funny. We were with Sasha.
That's my sister who is a
Yeah.
meat eater, and I know she's probably gonna listen and watch this. So shout out to you.
Sachita. And Jenny, we were all together. And, I've always made it a point to showcase a lot of the meals and, different spots that I'm at. I would, take pictures, videos of the plates. Because then in turn, I was just going to post it to promote, to, bring attraction from the community to visit these locations. And they both, Jenny and Sasha, they both looked at me. They're like, why don't you just start an Instagram page? And I was like, nah. And they're like, no, yeah, definitely. They're like, this is something you're passionate about, Tiff, and it's gonna, you never know what's gonna happen. So, because for a little bit, I wasn't like really into like wanting to be on social media all the time because this is a big deal. Like you have to, post, and keep up with your content interactions. It was a big thing. So I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's give it a go. And it just started off with me just posting places and brands, and then it just completely went into a completely different direction, which was amazing. And I am so thankful for it too. So Sasha and Jenny, they were the ones.
That's a special shout out, but I love it because I think I've said this on the podcast before, is you start with an idea and then it just kind of goes in its own direction. And I understand completely what you're saying about the need to always be on social and kind of keep that content up. But if it's something you're really passionate about, I think that takes away all of the other, I
Exactly.
guess, factors or whatever the case may be, where you're like, I actually enjoy doing this. And at the end of the day, once again, you're eating, you like to eat. So it's like you're having a complete experience with all of that, right?
Yeah, it becomes fun. It becomes fun. Instead of like a job, it just becomes like a hobby.
Yes, yes, yes. In terms of that, I guess that world, right? The social world. Is there anybody that you kind of keep an eye on for inspiration, some collabs maybe, and different things of that nature?
I mean, shoot, there's a lot of people I would love to collab with. I've actually had a catered chef reach out through a friend, and they wanted to come and showcase, their cooking style for me. So I've had them at the house. I've had them. I also have them on my page as well. Amazing, amazing chef, and his style was more of like aimed for Caribbean. Oh my god, those flavors are next level. But I've done a lot of work with Imusa, and that's a Colombian brand for all the culinary, cooking, pots and pans. That's all I showcase a lot of my coffee and espressos in that machine. They actually gifted that to me as well. So I'm looking forward to more collabs with Imusa in the future. There's a few chefs that I follow and that I've networked with that are like home chefs just like me. And hopefully in the future, either I can travel to them or they can travel to me, and we discuss on doing little collabs, because at the end of the day, food brings people together. I don't care what anyone says. Like, if it's a good plate, good feels, good vibes, it brings people all around the world. So I've got a couple things lined up and then I'm working on. So that's gonna showcase on Tiff Eatz soon enough.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that. Speaking of cooking, chefs, and all the things of that nature, you are currently, as the recording of this episode, part of a competition that is a favorite
Yes.
chef competition that I would love for you to explain about a little bit and let the people know.
Okay, so I am in the running for the competition that's hosted by celebrity chef Carla Hall, and it's called Favorite Chef. They've been doing it for a few years now, and there's a few other celebrity chefs that are attached to this competition as well. Chef Aaron Sanchez and Chef Andrew Zimmer. My apologies. But how this came about was random. A friend of someone that I'm friends with that's also a follower on my Tiff Eatz page, they sent me a link. They're like, hey, why don't you look into this? And I thought it was a scam at first. I'm like, no, like, what is that? I did some digging and I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not? It's all about, putting yourself out there. At the end of the day, you're shoot your shot. You never know if you're gonna, make it right through that net. So it was an application basically. They asked you a bunch of questions, what inspired you, signature dishes, some recipes, and then you had to attach some photos. And then, it was a bit of a process for them, but they were like, okay, we'll either respond with like you didn't make it, or you're approved to be in the running. And I got the email that I was approved. So I was like, okay, let's go. And it's been such a high, like the rush of this competition. This is the first competition I've done. And I am so excited. And the support that I've been getting is just out of this world because I've always had it in the back of my mind, like I want to do something with food. Like I've always wanted to do something with food, whether it's to be like, a chef, a private chef, traveling, reviewing, whatever it is, I know it had something to do with food. And with this competition, if I make it all the way through to the end, it's a lengthy one. The grand prize is $25,000, feature in the Taste of Home magazine, and then we get to cook alongside with the celebrity chef Carla Hall. And that right there would just be a game changer and a step towards something. So I feel like this is like a calling. It was meant to be. It was supposed to happen. So if y'all get an opportunity, the link is on my bio. Go ahead and cast a vote.
Yes, definitely support, definitely vote. I love that because, like you said, it's a calling, right? You have an idea, and then you kind of see certain signs, and even just being part of a competition, the support is great, and the exposure, obviously. But it's just falling in line with everything that you have kind of envisioned and have thought of. So yes, please
Yes.
support. We'll get all the information linked in the episode description and all that as well. And so it's how does the voting work? It's like a cutoff date, right, coming up, and then it kind of like narrows the field down a bit.
Yeah, so the first part is the longest part of the competition to filter out and to see who's gonna go to the top 20. So it started March 31st and it's gonna run all the way through until June 5th. And it's a free vote every 24 hours, but you would have to put in a Facebook login to authenticate that you're a real person because a lot of times with these competitions, they'll do these AI electronic votes and kind of like tweak the system. So this is their way of making sure it's an authentic vote from a real person and not a scam. So you could just do one vote every single day for all the way until June 5th. And it goes from the top 20, top 15, top 10, top five, and then it narrows down into the one top chef. I mean, the one favorite chef. So it's going to take a lot of dedication, a lot of support. But I've been, like I said, it's just the amount of support that I've been getting. It's an eye opener, and it's really kind of like a confirmation. Like this is something I'm supposed to be doing because all this feedback from all these people. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go. Let's do this.
Yes, I love it. And there's also like a donation portion as well that could be counted for votes.
Yes, yes. It goes towards the James Beard Foundation. They've been around for a long time, and it's an incredible foundation to support as well. But each dollar vote goes towards me. So the minimum is a $10 donation, so that goes towards James Beard, and then I get 10 votes. And then whatever else, anybody else, if they wanted to go more than that, each dollar amount is a vote towards me. So that's also pretty cool.
Yes, yes, I love that. Do they in the process? Do you know anything while like the voting is happening? Are there any updates for you, or are you kind of just like in the dark and waiting to see what happens?
There's a dashboard and it allows me to see, who are my top voters, who's currently voted for me, like the recent last three for the free votes. And then there's a little section when people do a donation that they could do like a little shout out and it comes to me and it'll tell me my rank. I'm currently in first, second, third, etc. But it won't tell me how many people exactly. It just kind of gives like a broad, like, oh, you're in the running along with all of these other chefs. And right now, I'm holding it down, first place in my group. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing. But yeah, sometimes it's kind of like a little bit of both. I'm in the dark, but I'm also be able to see a little bit of what I've got.
That's right. Keep that energy up and definitely support. Like I mentioned, we'll have everything linked in the episode description and whatnot. And even aside just from the competition itself, like support the page and look out on the Instagram. I'm gonna if you're watching on YouTube, I'm gonna give you a sneak peek of what it looks like here. We got different foods. We got some shrimps. We got some salad. We got some pasta, some pork, and oh man, I'm telling you, I've taken inspiration. I've taken some recipes. It's a beautiful thing to see it happening. And we've talked about the cooking part. Now I want to talk about the eating part because
Ooh.
it's also very important, right? So
Oh
I'm gonna
yes.
I'm gonna I'm gonna give you a question on what are your three favorite things to eat. Maybe it doesn't have to be specifically a dish. It could just be it could be like a kind of food, perhaps. But if you have three favorite, let me know what those are.
One of them I think you could agree. Chocolate con galletas.
Family tradition and staple.
100%. That comfort food to the max. Um, Arepas, come on now. Like, you could do so much with an arepa. So many toppings. Like, oh my gosh. 100%. And honestly, oh man, it's kind of tough between like an Italian dish. I love, okay, you know what? It is an Italian dish. And it's called pasta carbonara. Simple, but oh my gosh. It took my heart. It took my heart. It took my heart.
It is. I mean, there's so many different good options, and obviously we're Colombian, so we're biased to our food, but there
I
are
love
the realm is expansive for sure.
100%. Because I also love like Asian cuisine as well, like Japanese, Vietnamese, Chinese, Thai. Oh my gosh, all those. I could eat that almost every day as well. So it's hard to really when you have such a broad palette. It's hard to just narrow it down. But I mean, but those are gonna be my top three.
All right, so my next question is in terms of maybe wanting to visit a certain country because you're inspired or curious about maybe the culinary scene there. Do you have one specifically?
Well, I did get a chance to go to Italy, which is where I fell in love with pasta carbonara. That it's not a dish that you can find here in the States at all because the type of meat that they use is it's pretty high end and it's not easily accessible. So to have an authentic carbonara is in Italy. So I mean, I've already been there, but I can go back. I mean, I would want to live there and to experience all of their cuisine is right there on the top of my list. But I would love to go to Ireland and Greece because I love both of their meals as well. It's so homey and hearty and delicious and different. So definitely Greece and Ireland are on my to do list to go experience their culinary world.
I will tell you, I was in Greece a few years ago, and the food was phenomenal, phenomenal,
Oh,
phenomenal. And to the point that you say too, like I think the experience definitely made it that much better because everybody was so welcoming, everybody was so friendly. But the food is it's just so fresh, and it's good. It's just really really good. That's the best way I could say it. So I definitely hear that. And if so you talk about going to Italy, right, and seeing a plate that interests you. What how does your mind work in that way now? Are you thinking like, how do I recreate this? How do I make this? Or are you asking questions like, yo, I don't know if that's frowned upon to be at a restaurant and be like, yo, I make this, you know?
no, that's what I always do. I'll talk to the waiter. I'm like, I need some notes from the chef. Sometimes I've had instances where the chef will actually come out to our table because they want to see, okay, who is this person asking all of these questions? And I've taken some really amazing, snapshots of the chefs of the dishes at certain restaurants. But I'll look at it when it comes to me, I'll read the menu and usually they'll, tell you what it's made with and what's in it. And I'll taste it. And I'm like, okay, I'll try to bring out what flavors because there's so many seasonings and so many different flavors out there. Sometimes I haven't had a chance for it to hit my palate until it did. And I'll always ask like, what is in this? What is this sauce? And then or I'll try to like do a little game, try to break it down myself. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I can add more to this or, take away. And I'll always create it at the house.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's the way to do it. Just kind of be a student, right? If you're curious and you want it's something you want to do, like you gotta
Yes.
learn and take notes and be able to
Yeah.
open yourself in a way of like, yeah, I'm gonna ask questions. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's kind of how it continues to grow. So I love that. Definitely uh, keep doing that because that's only gonna help and keep building the inspiration for behind some of these amazing dishes, right?
Oh yes, 100%. You will never stop learning and growing. We never stop.
It's always a good time. The long term, I don't like to say too long term, but what is maybe a vision or some goals you have for yourself personally in this field, and then kind of what you want to do in the future with it?
There's a main goal, and it's to open up a food truck because that's really popular now. And good street food, good, to feed the community, give back, and support, local. That's a long-term goal. In short terms, I'm actually in the works of trying to, create, I'm not gonna give away too much, but kind of like do like a private chef event where people can hire me and I'll go. We'll create an ambiance and have a menu. So it's kind of like instead of going out to a restaurant, we're gonna bring the restaurant to you in your home, in the comfort of your home, and I'll cook, clean, cater to you and your family, or small events, because sometimes people just don't feel like cooking. Sometimes people, and then they'll want to go out, but then, sometimes they won't have a good experience. They, either the waiter is bad, or, the chef is having an off night, or, they spend all this money for an experience and sometimes they walk away not satisfied. But I'm aiming to create something that you will always be satisfied. It's always going to be top notch, and it's going to be, designed for what each family would want at their dinner table.
Both of those ideas are phenomenal. Obviously, the food truck one is something that's amazing. Would you have a certain menu in mind, a certain approach in mind, or would it be maybe something that's like a rotating, like we're like, oh, maybe, I know there's plenty of ideas you could have in the future with that, but what would your approach there be?
A bit rotating, definitely, because I don't like to restrict just one, two, three. This is what you see is what you get. So I would definitely do a rotating menu, maybe like every other week, like every 2 weeks. This first 2 weeks, make sure you come in and get this is on the menu for these 2 weeks, and then boom, change it up. And then if I see that there's like a community favorite, then I'll like keep that on there. But I'll always wanna switch it up, because at the end of the day, there's so many different
Yes.
dishes that I love to make, and I just want to get in people's mouths and their hearts.
For the dinner experience, I love the thought of that, the idea behind that. That could be so much fun. You're not gonna give out the details, and you shouldn't. But if I can't be there, I'm sending my mom on my behalf. So
100%.
we make it feel we're represented somehow. I'll be looking at through my phone, angry that I'm not able to. But no, it's awesome. I think that we've talked about it all episode. Just cooking, it brings people together in so many different ways, and it all slices down to being passionate about something. If it's something you truly enjoy, keep doing it. Keep creating, keep inspiring, keep having fun with it, which is the most important part. And yeah,
100%.
just keep being great with it, because I think that there is for sure a future there. There's a lot of support, and listen, the family that we have within itself is big enough to back you on anything you want to do. So I love it. Definitely stay with it. Any closing thoughts you have before we get into some family fun? Because we're two cousins, we gotta talk about some family stuff, right?
Of course, always. No, I just really want to take this time to really say thank you, Andy. This podcast from the jump, I stay locked in. I love what you're doing. You're doing your thing, Primo. I'm very proud of you, and I really greatly appreciate you, asking me to be invited on this episode. So that's, it's huge, because, with sports, it goes hand in hand, right, with food. Because for big games events, what are the two discussions? Where are we gonna watch the game, and what are we gonna eat? So with that, I feel like it's a good merriment. So thank you so much for this.
Of course, yeah. I mentioned off the top, I wanted to do it in general. When I created the show, I always thought about people I wanted to bring on and highlight. And that's the premise of the show, was also to like not just leave it to sports, which is great because it shows the difference in community and connections that you have to a bunch of different people that do great things. So it was a no-brainer that it had to happen. I'm glad that it happened at the time it did, because now we could get out the information about the competition as well and highlight all the great things you're doing. I mentioned it many times. Please follow Tiff Eatz on Instagram. Is TIFF_EATZ. So make sure you get that right. Don't be following the wrong one. Follow the right one. But we'll have all the information linked up on the episode descriptions and whatnot, and we'll keep it moving, man. We're gonna support here from the beginning to the end, because support is free, and I always say support your friends, right?
Always. Yes, we always gotta support each other.
Now I have to do this, because there's one thing about Tiff, is she, for some reason, is the one in the family that has all the great pictures. I don't know how she finds them, where she gets them from. She texts me all these crazy things. So I'm gonna put this one on the screen right
Oh.
now. for our YouTube viewers. And we're both in there. You could try to find
Yep.
and distinguish who's who, but I don't think it's that hard. But when you sent me this picture the other day, I was like, wow, this is one of the best things I've seen in a long time. And it's just a fraction of our cousins here. But I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know. This is just somewhere chilling in Florida, I'm assuming, probably.
Yeah, it was definitely in Florida because Marina had that big blue van. So that was whenever we were all in Tampa. And it looks like we all got skates. You and Johnny and Andrea, they all got skates. So I think we're going to go skating.
This is so good. I'm the little guy in the white shirt, and Tiff is on the edge of the truck with the stripes.
Yep.
Standing next to Sasha, who we
Right
talked
there
about,
with Sasha.
sister, who helped create this whole platform. So I love it. Tim, I wanted to end on a uh, great things that we used to do when we were younger, which was wrestling, and how how much we used to bond over wrestling. To just give a quick wrestling story of how crazy we were as kids, ourselves, along with Kenny's wild ass as well.
Yeah, because we always used to have family reunions every year. So, the family would come down from Rhode Island over here to Florida, and we decided to do a, World Wrestling Federation. So then we would team up. You would be you and Kenny, and then it would be me and Dylan. And then for a little bit, it was all of us against each other. Man, we would slam each other. Slam on in our parents' rooms and in the living room. Oh my gosh, like we made wrestling real.
Oh man, good memories. Like I said, real family, real cousin, not the made up ones y'all be talking about on the internet. This is lifelong, forever. I love it, and this is great because when we were in Florida talking about the podcast and stuff in Sarasota, now we have something tangible that we could send to Lily and be like, "Here, the podcast A exists." And B, now it's two of your family members here having this conversation. Conversations that we have often, but now we're gonna have one that lives forever in front of the world.
100%. Heck yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, appreciate everybody listening. Prima, once again, thank you for coming through. I love everything you're doing. You already know this. I don't have to tell you, but I'll keep telling you anyway. Best of luck with everything. Get the support out, get the votes in, and all that good stuff. And follow Tiff Eatz if you want to be inspired, if you want to be hungry like I currently am, because I haven't eaten anything. If you want to find some recipes, if you want to anything in the culinary world, the page is amazing, the food's amazing, the vibes are always great. And that's all we're about here, man. We're just kicking the real, giving out the good stuff. So until next time, appreciate y'all.
Love you, Primo. Thank you so much.
Love you, Prima.